Nigeria has become a monster feeding on the blood of its captives. Who are the captives? The Yoruba in Yoruba land, the Joy in Ijo land, the Igbo in Igbo land. You call them Nigerians. What is Nigeria? Why can't we discuss that Nigeria? The Yoruba that could be a country of 60 million people or more should decide whether they want to be in your Nigeria. Should decide the terms if they are going to be in that Nigeria. Should decide the terms. Same for the Ijo, same for the Igbo, same for the Bero. Yes, having explained the fact that the Constitution of Nigeria is reason for everything we complain about, whether it is the killings or the corruption or the impunity or the infrastructural decay, all those things that make young people seek exit from Nigeria, run in all kinds of directions. We have explained that the Constitution is 100% the reason, the Unitary Constitution, 100% reason. Bad leadership, reason. Corruption, insecurity, and everything else. Now, we have also advanced what we need to do to take down that Constitution. Very simple. Let us, as a demonstration of our rejection of that Constitution, reject the journey to another election that will revalidate, that will reinforce the life of that Constitution. And we're talking about 2027. We're in 2026 now. We're in the first quarter of 2026, as I speak. And we have the whole of 2026, the whatever is left of the second, the third, the fourth quarter of 2026 to stop the journey to that election in order to rework the constitutional arrangements of the Union. That's the only way to overtake this state capture that Tinubu has enacted against all of us, and he said this APC. That's the only way to overtake the Fulani conquest agenda that is sweeping towards us in the ethnic cleansing we have seen. That's the only way to overtake the economic strangulation in which you are targeted to be without the means, without the resources to organize. That Labour Congress, that's what has happened to you. And the rest of the people who should have been doing one opposition or the other, that's what has happened to you. And so these existential threats that are racing towards us from all sides, NINAS is, telling us what to do right now that can arrest those things in a matter of weeks. It doesn't have to take more than a few months if we start now to say we won't go to this election under this Constitution. And we're therefore addressing specific constituencies, the people who are pursuing other things that will not solve the problem. The young people who want to take back their country, take back Nigeria. It is the Constitution that took your Nigeria. Your sovereignty is taken by that false claim that we, the people, solemnly resolve to submit our sovereignty to be managed by these madmen we have seen. And so, if we want to take back Nigeria, it is to pull down that Constitution and recover our sovereignty to now write down what will become the terms of our union in a way that will work, in a way that will bring back accountability, in a way that will bring that will bring the rule of law to be. This current Constitution, shuts out the possibility of rule of law, shuts out the possibility of electoral, probity. In everything that could have made the society to work, the value system is upside down because corruption is created and protected by this Constitution. Impunity is promoted by this Constitution because when you give immunity to those who have charge over the treasury and all the powers of state, you give them immunity. They don't owe you any accounting. They don't owe you any obligation to even do any particular thing, and you also absolve them of responsibility towards the citizen. That's what Section 6(2) does, suspending, overriding the entire Chapter 2. Every time they tell you that the government owes you security and welfare, or any of those many things, very good things listed in the chapter 2, equal treatment and all that. That's one side of the story. Section 6, subsection 6C of the 1999 Constitution overtakes, nullifies the entire chapter 2. Therefore, under this Constitution, young people, listen. The reason your life is miserable the way it is because your government under this Constitution does not owe you any obligation whatsoever. They are absolved of obligation towards you. They don't owe you education, they don't owe you healthcare, they don't owe you electricity, they don't owe you anything. They don't even owe you equal treatment. That's why the quota system that they call federal character, in which you are better qualified and somebody else is preferred because of where he comes from. It happens in primary school as you want to go to secondary school. It happens in JAMB. There's a cutoff mark that knocks you out and accommodates those you are far better than. Those are the kind of things. Then the big people doing business, the license they give, because of that exclusive list, it is the federal government that will give license to Dangote to go and do refinery. There are thousands of people that can set up refinery. Why is it that Dangote is the only one given not only the license, they give him the crude, they gave him the license to function in monopoly, and they also took money from the treasury. Otherwise, were we not here when Emefiele was telling us how much he took from the treasury on one occasion, $2 billion to give to a private person? It is because that constitution puts refining on the exclusive list, having put oil and gas on that exclusive list. It is on that exclusive list that arms and ammunition that make security impossible is. Nothing will change in all these major things, and there are 68 such items in that constitution. Every single thing, including bad leadership, including whatever you can point to as what is wrong with Nigeria, the railway that is no longer there, the electricity that is not there, the roads that are upside down, the elections that are upside down, every single thing is coming from that exclusive list. Nigeria locks down the possibility for electricity with that constitution. Nigeria locks down the possibility for refining. There's a war going on in Iran, and we're here talking about we have 3 million barrels of crude oil we pump out every day. We can't process the little less than 10% that we need to service our needs at our own price. What is our own share of that crude oil, that 3 million barrels of crude oil? Does it belong to people in government house to the exclusion of the peoples of Nigeria? These are the things that the Constitution settles. Unless we define the ownership structures, we are slaves in this place under that Constitution. Let nobody deceive you about how a better manager by way of president can come and it will become better. NINAS is telling the young people who want to recover their country, who want to take back Nigeria, that the task before them is to pull down that Constitution. That's the only way to take back Nigeria. Every other thing is a product of ignorance. Every other thing is a product of dishonesty on the part of those who are leading you, those who know, but who have other profits they are pursuing, who are not telling you, therefore, that the challenge, the roadblock to that thing you seek is that Constitution, and that unless that Constitution goes down, you waste your time. Another 4 years will come, another 4 years will come, and that's how we got to 20, how many years now from 1999? 27 years gone. Because we refuse to listen to those who can guide us, those who can point us to where the problem is. We are working in ignorance. That's for the young people. We come back to the ones who are singing revolution. What revolution can be more profound than taking down the Constitution that defines everything? What is the meaning of revolution in the circumstance? What revolution can be more far-reaching than pulling down the structures of criminality? For Peter Obi that say he wants to disable the structure of criminality, it is the Constitution of Nigeria that is the framework for the structure of criminality we are operating. Anybody who wants anything to change in Nigeria, who is not talking about the Constitution of Nigeria that is responsible for the calamities we live in, is either ignorant or dishonest. And if you happen to be one of those who have explained to in private and in public, and you are still, wobbling on in that ignorance, it's no longer ignorance, it's dishonesty. It is dishonesty to suggest that you are going to fix anything in Nigeria without taking down that Constitution. It is dishonesty to present other solution that leaves the source of the problem intact. While you say you mop very vigorously. That's what you are saying. If you want to leave the tap flowing from where corruption is coming, the tap flowing from where impunity is coming, from where infrastructural decay is coming, from where electoral malfeasances are coming, you want to leave it intact and tell people who do not know that you are going to, just tweak here and tweak there. Is dishonesty, because we have explained this sufficiently for everybody to understand it. Anybody who claims he doesn't understand it now is just lying to himself and lying to other people. That's for those who are talking about revolution. There's no revolution more far-reaching, more profound than toppling the constitution and rewriting the rules of engagement. If you don't set the rules of engagement, those who set it will continue to dish back to you what they put in place, like we have seen in this electoral reform. Are you going to be surprised by whatever you see INEC doing on election day, or the Supreme Court, or whoever in the judiciary doing? You were there when Wike was building houses for them. Who do you think is writing the judgment, these crazy judgments we see from judiciary at all levels? The High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. Most of them are coming from the executive branch. It takes being blind not to see it. And if that is what the case is, have you tried to find out why is it so? It is because that constitution puts the executive branch in a position to appoint all of those who have to man those places. In a federation, it's not supposed to be so. In a democracy, it's not supposed to. In a constitutional government, it's not supposed to be so. There have to be, there must be institutions that are more or less cushioned separated from the kind of control that we have seen coming in the kind of unitary constitution we have. And so that is for those who are pursuing revolution. Let us go and do the big revolution once and for all. And we're closer. It won't take us 6 months to enact it. And it does not depend on whether people in government agree with us or not. It also does not depend on bloodshed of killing people all over the place. We only say this constitution is the problem. We are not going to renew the life of it, and that's the end. If we mobilize the population to say they are not going to election under that, that's the end of the matter. We go to transition. There's no anarchy anywhere, because there will be a nominal governance like South Africa did with apartheid in 1990 that ended in 1994 with the election that brought Nelson Mandela. That's the thing we've done the work of organizing the owners of Nigeria, the people that the British lumped together in 1914 without consultation, the people who found themselves as a state of as a 36-state federation without any consultation. Who created those states? Who created those local government areas? Who allotted those powers that are now the problems of everybody? That Abuja is sitting there just doing whatever it likes with everybody everywhere, able to do everything in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. And on our behalf overseas, you saw what Tinubu went to do in London the other day, signing off bits and pieces of our sovereignty, just as he deems fit. Does presidential power that comes with the election entitle that president to go to fritter away our sovereignty? Look at what has happened with America, that has to now come and do what we should have been doing for ourselves because somebody has assumed our statehood for himself. That's the state capture that has happened. There are many things this president is doing that is not within the mandate of a president to do without reference to the owners of the sovereignty. You cannot go to fritter off our sovereignty because you want to be in power for all times. And so that is for the people who are talking about fundamental change. The ones who are talking about revolution to arrest what is happening. The revolution we need is to take down this unitary constitution. Anybody who is telling you any other thing, this goes to Showore and whoever gathers with him in the revolution now talk. The revolution we need is to topple the constitution. We are closer to finishing that task than anything else. If you keep that constitution in place and you want to go and contest election under it, then you are being dishonest. You are being dishonest. Because you are going to have to swear to defend and uphold that constitution. if you win. And the reason you are not going to win is because the rules are set by the people who are enforcing that constitution. And why would we say we don't want this constitution in one moment, then the next moment we are going to election under it? That's the dishonesty part of it, because those who say we don't want the constitution already know how bad it is, that there's nothing that will work under it. Why do we keep deceiving ourselves and shouting revolution when there's revolution that can be enacted in a matter of 2-3 months if we choose? So let us get serious. And then the next people are the ones who are shouting about restructuring. What is the meaning of restructuring? If we can't accept that the unitary constitution of Nigeria is that structure of criminality that has brought Nigeria to where it is, if you want restructuring, why can't you accept that it is that constitution that has to go? Why can't you accept the plan that can take it out? Like NINAS has placed on the table since 2020, December 16th. The constitutional force majeure gives us start to end, that start to finish, what we need to do to terminate the life of that constitution and restore life to Nigerians who are fleeing in all directions away from their country that is feeding on their blood. Nigeria has become a monster feeding on the blood of its captives. Who are the captives? The Yoruba in Yoruba land, the Ijaw in Ijaw land, the Igbo in Igbo land. You call them Nigerians. What is Nigeria? Why can't we discuss that Nigeria? Why can't we discuss that Nigeria so that we can know we have a union? We have one common project. That Nigeria that is defined by that unitary constitution is not my project. It's not our project. It is the project of those who impose it on us. It's the project of those who refuse to discuss the union agreements that had gone back since 1967. That's where we are. And so we come down again to the ones who are waving Oodua Republic flag and Biafra flag, whatever the reason you are where you are is that there is a Nigeria occupying that space. There's nothing you're going to do that will not become treason if you do not tackle the constitution that defines everything. The ones who want Biafra, the ones who want Oodua Republic, we agree with you that Nigeria is not working, is never going to work as currently constituted. Why don't you then sit down and try to draw up a plan or examine the plan that has been drawn up about how to terminate that operation of that Nigeria in your space? That's what we have done since 1999, and we have come to where it can be enforced. It won't take more than a few weeks or a few months to enforce it, so that Nigeria of 1914, as defined by the fraud of 1999, the one you call the 1999 Constitution, is brought to an end and reworked by the consensus and in the imperative of self-determination for the constituent components. The Yoruba that could be a country of 60 million people or more should decide whether they want to be in your Nigeria, should decide the terms. If they are going to be in that Nigeria, should decide the terms. Same for the Ijaw, same for the Igbo, same for the Berom. Under the current constitution, none of you can raise any such issue without getting into the pit of treason, like we have seen happen to all those who are doing it ignorantly, and some of them dishonestly, because we sat with them and explained to them, but they chose to go to make money. They chose to go to make fame. That's how they got to where they are now being criminalized for something that is their entitlement. You are entitled to your self-determination. You are entitled to your sovereignty. We have seen the instrument by which our sovereignty is detained. Why can't we work with knowledge and get rid of that instrument, recover our sovereignty, and decide whether we want to be in union, and if not, what else we want? We go to referendums and settle it. It won't take more than what is left of Tinubu's interregnum to settle all of that. Why do we go to waste this period on election hoping that some kind of magic will happen? And so even the church, the religious leaders, whether they are Christian or Muslim, your flock come to cry every time, and you have been told what the problem is. You turn your back to that problem, and you're encouraging them to go to renew their damnation. Let nobody be deceived. The leaders, the religious leaders in Nigeria, any one of you who doesn't take a position on this matter of constitution, look at South Africa. Where is the Bishop Tutu amongst you? Look at the U.S. at the time, the Reverend Martin Jr. Where are the men of God in Nigeria? Where are the men of God in Nigeria? Look at the kind of things coming from them. Look at what Adeboye have been doing. Look at what Oyedebo have been. What position have they taken on this constitution that is the source of death in the land? Any man of God, any church, any general overseer in Nigeria who does not mount the pulpit and take a position on this constitution and the election that renews it to say this constitution is the reason things are bad this way, this election can only make it worse. Anyone who doesn't do that is standing with the enemy, is standing with the old order. And the flock, those who have been slaughtered in Kwara, those who have been slaughtered in Benue, those who have been slaughtered in Plateau, those who will be slaughtered in Ondo tomorrow, should know that it is these religious leaders that are holding the lantern for those who are slaughtering them. They must now take a position on this matter. It's not something you say, you keep quiet, you don't want to be involved in politics, but you are involved in coronating president, you are involved in coronating governor every time. Let us pull back and get to reason. There's a mechanism for solving this problem. We cannot continue to live in ignorance in the face of knowledge. I think a word should be enough for the wise. We stop here.